We think it's best if you skip the party this year. My mother's text lit up my phone like a slap in the face. Amanda wants a perfect holiday with just us and the kids. You understand, right? I stared at the message, sitting alone in what used to be my grandmother's study. Now my study. The antique desk I'd spent months restoring gleamed in the soft afternoon light, reflecting garlands I'd hung the day before. Every inch of this house carried the weight of the work I'd poured into it over the last year. My name is Catherine Mitchell. I'm 34 years old, and I had just been uninvited from a holiday party, in the home I legally own. Another message buzzed in. You can drop off gifts beforehand. Amanda doesn't want any awkwardness on the day. Amanda, my younger sister, the golden child, the one who had vanished to Europe when Grandma died, too busy finding herself to come home, too absent to lift a finger when the house was crumbling. When no one else in the family cared enough to save it, I did. I sold my condo, emptied my savings. I gave everything to restore this Victorian relic. Weekends disappeared into scraping, sanding, rebuilding. While Amanda posted photos of charcuterie boards and Pinterest-perfect kids, I was shoulder-deep in plaster dust and renovation manuals. My phone buzzed again. You're not responding. Don't make this difficult, Mom texted. Then Dad chimed in. Kate, you know how important traditions are to Amanda. I laughed bitterly. Family traditions. In the house they were all ready to sell to developers just a year ago. I'd been the only one who believed it was worth saving. I'll buy your shares, I said back then. I'll take it on a loan. They laughed. Amanda called it my cute little project. But I did it. I bought them out. I restored the place top to bottom. Grandma would have cried to see it now. And now they wanted to throw a party here without me. Another ping. The kids are so excited for party at Great-Grandma's house. Please don't ruin this for them. Great-Grandma's house. Not my house. Not Catherine's house. Just the quaint little backdrop for their holiday fantasies, restored by the reliable sister who did all the dirty work. I walked through the rooms I had saved. The hardwood floors I uncovered beneath layers of carpet, the vintage kitchen tiles I preserved while modernizing the space, the sunroom now flooded with warm light like it used to be when Grandma read to us. Every room told a story they had abandoned. My phone pinged again. We'll be there on the 23rd to decorate. Amanda has some wonderful ideas to make the house more festive. I imagined Amanda's wonderful ideas. Plastic inflatables, blinking lights from the dollar store, and whatever would trend best on Instagram, plastering over the careful historic restoration I had fought for. I sat at Grandma's desk, fingertips brushing the inlay I'd painstakingly restored. A year ago this room had been water-damaged and decaying. Now it was a sanctuary. Then came the final blow, a photo. Amanda's kids, smiling in matching sweaters. Can't wait for the party at the old house. The old house. Not mine. But they forgot one thing. Every deed, every document, every legal right belonged to me. I opened my laptop, fingers calm but cold. If they needed a reminder of who owned this house, I would give it to them. The next morning I made 3 calls. The first was to Emma, my lawyer, who had helped with the property transfer. The second to a security company. And the third to Martha, Grandma's longtime neighbor and friend, who had watched me rebuild this home with quiet pride. Emma's voice crackled over the speaker as I stirred coffee in my beautiful kitchen. They're throwing a party in the house you own. Without your permission. Yep. They plan to decorate on the 23rd. I pause. They do realize they signed away all claims last year, right? They forgot, I said, watching the snow fall softly outside. Amanda had posted about their perfect holiday at the family home, all over social media. Emma chuckled. As your lawyer, I suggest sending a formal notice. Then she added, as your friend, make sure they never forget who owns that house. The security company arrived that same afternoon. I had them install a state-of-the-art system, motion cameras, alarm sensors, and a coded gate at the base of the driveway. From her porch next door, Martha watched it all with a knowing smile. That evening, she sipped tea in my kitchen and said softly, "Your grandmother would be proud, not just of the house, but of you for finally standing up for yourself." I glanced around the kitchen, the one I'd restored tile by tile, grateful for her. Martha had been my only visitor during those long, dusty months. She brought me sandwiches and steady encouragement when I was knee-deep in rotting floorboards and water damage. She never once doubted me. "Amanda always did get her way," Martha added, setting her cup down gently. "Even when you girls were little, running around in here while your grandmother baked cookies. Maybe it's time that changed." Just then my phone buzzed again. "Mom, Amanda ordered the most beautiful decorations. We're thinking of putting the tree in front of that old bookcase you refinished. The kids need space for presents." I stared at the screen in disbelief. The bookcase. The original built-in. The one I had spent weeks restoring to match the house's original wood stain. And now they wanted to shove a fake tree in front of it like it was some afterthought. "They really have no idea what's coming, do they?" Martha asked, watching my expression harden. "None at all," I said. The week leading up to the party passed quickly. The texts came faster, each more entitled than the last. Amanda wanted to move furniture to create a kids' play zone. Mom suggested I store my cluttered antiques in the attic. Dad asked if I could make sure the driveway was plowed in time for their arrival. I didn't answer any of them. Instead, I prepared. The security system was fully tested. Emma had drafted the legal notice. Martha had agreed to witness everything. Even the local police were briefed, just in case things got messy. Then came December 23rd. Right on cue, 3 SUVs rolled up to the new gate. I stood in my grandmother's study, watching through the camera feed. Amanda climbed out first, arms full of tinsel and plastic reindeer. Mom followed, cradling a tray of cookies. Dad hauled out oversized gift bags. They walked up to the gate and stopped. Amanda tried the keypad, frowned, tried again. Nothing. Mom stepped in, pressing buttons with increasing frustration. Dad pulled out his phone, clearly irritated. Then mine rang. "Mom, Kate, the driveway gate's not working. We can't get in." Me. "It's working just fine." Oz. "What do you mean?" "I mean the gate's doing exactly what it's supposed to do. We need to decorate. Amanda has a schedule." "No. No." Her voice sharpened. "What do you mean, no?" "I mean, you're not coming in. This is private property." "My property. Or did you all forget that?" On the screen, I watched their faces shift. Amanda's smile evaporated. Mom's jaw dropped. Dad started pacing. "This isn't funny, Catherine," Amanda snapped from the background. "Open the gate. Now." "Or what?" I replied. My voice didn't even tremble. "You'll uninvite me again. From my own home." Silence. "Let me be very clear," I continued. "This house, the one you were all ready to sell to developers, the one you signed away without hesitation, the one I spent a year restoring while you posted beach selfies, is mine. And there's no party here today. You have no right to be here. No right to move my furniture. And absolutely no right to cover my restoration work with dollar store decorations." There was silence. Then my mother stammered. But it's the family home." "No," I said firmly. "It's my home. And if you recall, I wasn't even invited to the party. You can't do this." Amanda's voice rose to a pitch I hadn't heard since our teenage fights. "We have plans. The kids are expecting a party here." I looked at the camera feed, her arms waving dramatically, her kids watching from the back seat with confused little faces. For a moment my heart softened. None of this was their fault. But I steeled myself. This wasn't about them. It was about years of being taken for granted. Actually, I can. And I am. I paused, then added. But I'm willing to negotiate. "Negotiate?" my dad asked, his businessman instincts clearly kicking in. "What do you mean?" "If you still want to have the party here, we can talk about terms. All of you. Come back tomorrow at 10 a.m. Bring coffee. We'll have the family meeting we should have had weeks ago. But tomorrow is the party, Amanda protested. Then I suggest you make alternate plans. Just in case. Hung up. Through the security feed, I watched them argue in the snow. Eventually, they climbed back into their cars and drove away. Moments later, Martha called from next door. Well done, dear, she said with a laugh. Your grandmother just did a little dance in heaven. That night, I slept better than I had in weeks. The next morning, right at 10 a.m., the 3 cars returned. This time I buzzed them in. I waited in the formal living room, where we'd once had the family meeting about selling the house. The room looked completely different now, glowing with restored beauty. The carved crown moldings, the original woodwork, the vintage rug cleaned and repaired, every detail touched by care. They walked in slowly. No one spoke. Their eyes scanned the room. Mom gasped softly at the gleaming hardwood. Dad ran a hand along the newly refinished banister. Even Amanda was silent as she noticed the framed family photos on the wall, some of Grandma in this very room. Sit down, I said, gesturing toward the antique furniture I'd reupholstered by hand. Mom tried to speak. Kate, we need to. No, I interrupted gently but firmly. Let me go first. I stood by the fireplace, where Grandma's handmade stockings hung, even the ones she'd sewn for Amanda's kids. This house isn't just a building. It's not a backdrop for your perfect party. It's our family's history. And I've spent the past year fighting to save it. I walked them through every room, showed them the intricate tile work I'd preserved in the kitchen, the restored sunroom windows that matched the originals, the study where I'd repaired Grandma's desk by hand. With every room, I watched their frustration melt into awe. I had no idea, Dad murmured, running his hand over the vintage tile. Of course you didn't, I said, not unkindly. None of you visited. None of you asked. You just assumed I'd take care of it, like always. Amanda looked down. We thought you were just fixing it up a little, making it livable. And then you thought you could throw a party here without me, I said. That ends now. I took a deep breath. Here are my terms. If you want to celebrate here, it's with me, not around me. You will respect the home and the work I've done. No moving furniture. No covering architectural details. No cheap decorations. They were quiet. And most importantly, I added, this becomes a real family home again. That means all of us contributing, respecting each other, respecting this place. A long silence followed. Then Mom wiped a tear from her eye. We've been horrible. Haven't we? Yes, I said simply. You have. Dad nodded slowly. The house is beautiful, Kate. You've done what none of us could have imagined. Amanda stood up and looked around the room again. I was jealous, she said quietly. You did something amazing. And I couldn't stand that you succeeded where I didn't even try. It wasn't a perfect apology, but it was a start. So, I said, folding my arms, what's it going to be? A real family celebration, together, or a party somewhere else? They chose to stay. Over the next 2 days we decorated, together. Amanda's kids helped hang ornaments on a real pine tree that didn't block the bookcase. Mom asked questions about the house's history as she helped polish the banister. Dad finally fixed the squeaky step he'd ignored for decades. On party morning, I watched my nieces and nephews open gifts in front of the fireplace. Across the yard, Martha waved through her kitchen window and gave me a proud thumbs up. Smiled. The house was full again. Not just of people but of something Grandma would have recognized. Warmth. Laughter. Respect. It wasn't perfect. These things never are. But it was real. And this time we were all invited.